What's going on, everybody? Man, y'all already know, man. I'm gonna jump right into it, man. Y'all already know, man. I'm Stonecrest proud, man. I just want to make sure everybody in Stonecrest get this message, man. Meaning, I don't know how to say it outside of we lose the game before we learn to play, man. We lose the game before we learn to play. And let me tell you what I mean by that, man. Meaning, we were able to become a city. You know what I mean? Meaning, the majority of the people in Stonecrest are African American, all right? So, again, it's safe to say that, you know, we're the unincorporated part of Lithonia, so it's safe to say that we're predominantly the wealthiest minority city. And that's why y'all hear me say that all the time, because at one point in time, it was Lithonia. And I mean, that includes the unincorporated part of Lithonia as well. And, you know, we're now that. All right, we had it on the ballot, you know what I'm saying, to become a city, and many of us voted for cityhood. And so the beauty of cityhood is to be able to take charge and have some say-so versus just sitting back waiting on the county to do everything. With that being said, the majority of the people in the city of Stonecrest they don't even know they live in the city of Stonecrest. They don't know that they reside in the city of Stonecrest. And before you go to jumping the gun, it's like it's enough blame to go around. All right. Now, if you go into a new city or a new part of town and you driving down the highway or driving through the neighborhood, and how do you know the speed limit? And the point I'm trying to make is the same way you learn the speed limit when you're on a different side of town or when you're in somebody else's city. It's the same way residents supposed to be involved enough to know. So I don't get it when people say, oh, they supposed to tell us, you know, we are in the city of Stonecrest. How many ways to say it? I mean, we became a city in 2017. Here it is, 2023. We're officially 6 years old. All right. Now, like I say, some would say, you know what, it's the city officials, you know, they can, you know, they can do a better job with marketing and promoting. But as a resident, how can you be living in a place and not know that they changed your city, your area into a city? Like, how can you not know? Like, you know, that part. So it just goes to show you, like, many of us, we're not involved. We're not involved. I mean, when it comes to the businesses in our city, how do we pull together and support the businesses? How do we hold people accountable? You know what I mean? How do we maintain our areas? How do we work together is what I'm saying. How do we work together for the greater good? Because now that we're a city, it's not like you can just sit back and say, you know what? I don't want to be no city no more. I mean, you do have an option to say, you know what? I don't like that we became a city. I don't like the area. I want to move. I mean, that's an option. But now that we're a city, what are you going to do? You got to play your part. You know what I mean? So we got to figure out as residents, how do we help move our city forward? Meaning we get to represent now. You know what I mean? If we want our city to be clean, it's up to us. If we want our city to be safe, what are some things we can do to help keep our city safe? How can we work together? How do we team up with law enforcement? Like, what are some things we do to keep our city safe? And that's why I started it off to say that we are our own worst enemy. Because many of us, man, we don't care. And then not just that, when it comes to our community and our people, being lazy and being ignorant is our downfall. That's why we are our own worst enemy. Being lazy and being ignorant. And that's a choice. To be lazy and to be ignorant. It's a choice. It's a choice. So this is where we fail as a whole, as a race, as a people. All right? Many of us not involved enough to be able to pull strings and to make things happen. So therefore we just fall to the wayside, and you know, we got to do better. All right, to be continued. Yeah, I go again, guys. What it is to be Stonecrest proud. I am Stonecrest proud, all right? Man, we have so much to be proud of, man, when it comes to our city, man. Let's talk about Arabian Mountain, all right? Davidson Arabian Mountain. It was named after Mr. Davidson that passed away, yeah, I forgot how many years, but it's a whole story that goes with that. But we have Arabian Mountain, all right? It's one of our attractions. We have the nature trail, with a lot of hiking, you know what I mean? We have a lot of lakes that surround, enough lakes that surround Arabia Mountain. Many people fish and visit. We have South River, all right? That's something else that's awesome that my son and I get to enjoy like every month, like in the spring and summer months. We get out there as much as we can to, kayak or canoe, the South River, 6.5 miles. I mean, it's awesome. A lot of people visit our city for that reason. We also have Walters Farm. People go and take their wedding photos. I've seen bands come out and play out at Walters Farm, not too far from Arabia Mountain. And man, we have $150 million high school, Arabia Mountain High School, an awesome school. In fact, it's in the top 5 best schools in DeKalb County. It's in the top 5, right? That's something to be proud of, man. Big shout out to the Rams, man. Rams Nation. Arabian Mountain High School. Shout out to them. Y'all keep being awesome and classy. All right? Keep being awesome and classy. All right? Ratchet is not, like I say, ratchet does not represent our culture. And like I say, yeah, there's some people that are ratchet, but that's a whole nother story. But Stonecrest proud, man. Big shout out to Privy Stonecrest. Big shout out to the new Black Wall Street market, all right? And all of the many small minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, that's here in the great city of Stonecrest that I gladly support, all right? I work here. I live here. My children are educated here. We play here, We practice our spiritual practices here. We try and do everything Stonecrest, you know what I mean? But it's definitely a reason to be proud. I know many of you, you're probably thinking like, like that ain't much to be proud of. I mean, it's where we live, and I think many people should be proud of where they live, and to be able to express that by getting involved and through their actions, you know what I mean? Getting involved, So yeah, man. So it's just a lot of great things and so much potential here, you know what I mean? Also, like I say, when it comes to like economic development, I mean, we have so much space. And I know many of you, want to ask the question like, hey, what's up with the planning commission? What's up with the planning and zoning and like, like with the planning commission, how are you guys going to rate those businesses and, with those high paying jobs, for the residents of Stonecrest? And, if you are a resident in Stonecrest, you know what you have to do. You got to show up. You got to keep putting in the work. I mean, that's life. That's just life. I mean, you're gonna have to fight, and it shouldn't be hard, But again, with what we have to deal with in the country as a whole, I mean, it's just a local level. So I mean, you can show up to a city council, a city hall meeting, one of those work session meetings, and but yeah, definitely get involved. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but it shouldn't be no reason you're not proud of your city and helping to move the city forward. Now, if you didn't vote for the mayor, didn't vote for the council member, and you didn't get the one of your choice, at the end of the day, somebody have to be the head to run the city. We have to work together. I mean, you may have heard me say in that last part, Stonecrest is Stonecrest's worst enemy. And that's normally how it go in life. You as the viewer could be your own worst enemy. How do you find balance? How do you work with yourself? How do you forgive yourself? How do you have to find ways to work together. I mean, right now, many of us have the mindset that It's just it's a broken program. It's a program slash broken mindset to say, you know what? I'm individualism. That's what I believe in. Individualism. I'm gonna me, myself, and I, me, mine. And that's a selfish way to be, because it's gonna be hard to work together in unison. You know what I mean? It's gonna be hard to move the city forward if everybody thinking individual. All right. Individualism. You know what I mean? I, me, mine. It's us, we, ours. Us, we, ours. This is our city. If you don't know you resign the city of Stonecrest, you got to get up off your backside. You are programmed. You are distracted. You are distracted. I mean, by whatever the media, the entertainers, whatever's going on in your world. I mean, you are clearly occupied in what they say. You can live in the world. You can live in the world but not be of the world. Then clearly that's what's going on. Like, you out here, but you just not a part of what's going on. So like I say, I would highly recommend many of you get involved. Also, I would like to give some tips. I mean, you know, many people, anything happened in Stonecrest. I mean, you know, Zachary over at AJC. I mean, he's at, you know, this guy done had a field day. I mean, it's like job security messing with Stonecrest. But like I say, you know, it started off a bit rough, and you know, we cleaning things up, and it's a process. But to many of you, like I say, when they come to individualism, and you know, you want to just do your own thing, I mean, clearly that's not the way of the world. You know, it's power in numbers. All right. It's power in numbers. So I just want to leave you with a few gems. If many of us, you know, again, come together for the greater good, we could definitely seek to get you know, to have some transparency, some accountability, some ethics, morals, you know, and when it comes to dealing with crime, I mean, many of us as neighbors, a lot of neighbors, you know, not all, but many, you know, come home, lock their doors, close their blinds, and they just shut the rest of the world off. Now, you know, I've had experiences with neighbors where they complain. Not once have I ever seen them at the city hall meeting. Not once. But then they'll sit around here and just, again, you know, throw dirt on Stonecrest. Oh, they ain't do this. They didn't do that. They didn't do this. What about this? What about that? What about this? And just wouldn't get involved. Then show up to vote. But do the most crying. I mean, I'm not going to give any more energy to that. I mean, that's just flat out, again, ignorance. Like, you clearly programmed. I personally think that's a sign of self-hatred, because the majority of the people that resign Stonecrest are African American. So, I mean, we have a chance to say, you know what? Hey, let's pull up by the bootstrap. All right. So when it comes to our council members, when it comes to our mayor, when it comes to a lot of the small businesses, when it comes to the resident, we have what it takes. And many of us have potential. I mean, you have doctors, you have lawyers, you have CEOs, you have directors. I mean, it's a lot of potential here in Stonecrest. So it's definitely, you know, being on one accord. You know what I mean? One band, one sound. And so, you know, if that process takes a bit longer, like I say, I have the patience for it, but we can definitely get through what we're facing, and it's not the worst. You know, I mean, you know, you have other cities that I don't even wish to name and go through, but again, man, I just think it's a lot going on here, especially a lot of potential. And you know, some of the other amenities and agritourism areas I didn't mention, you know, shout out to you guys, such as the campground, to the vineyard, all right, to the florist, all right. So it's so much to be proud of, and there's so much potential here. I want to say keep up the good work, and let's work together. Let's stick together. All of our business is not everybody else's business. Stonecrest business need to stay in Stonecrest, and we find ways to work together. Us, we, ours, not I, me, mine. Us, we, ours. So I'm gonna leave off on that note, guys. Hey, real quick, guys, I'd like to offer a quick solution for those that wish to engage in local politics here in the city of Stonecrest. You can Google Stonecrest Citizens Coalition. That's plural, citizens. Also, the website, www.stonecrestcitizens.org. And, become engaged, be informed. In fact, I began my membership, when it first started, I was a part of it. So, like I say, I have to get back engage myself with working as a group, and again, citizens coming together, engaging one another. So that's the solution I would offer for a lot of you who don't get into politics but want to know what's going on and wish to be informed. Again, Stonecrest Citizens Coalition. Go to the website, stonecrestcitizens.org, and become a part of it, become engaged. Oh yeah, real quick, guys, real quick. Yep. Ownership. But yeah, man, I wanted to say to a lot of the young folk, man, who I be talking to, man, I'm talking like these guys are like, you know what I mean, like early 30s, late 20s, or what have you, man, and they be like, man, I grew up around here, this Lithonia, and it's like, look, dude, this ain't no Lithonia. I understand you love your city and you represent your city or what have you, but the thing is, if you was so serious about this being L-Town and Lithonia, why you ain't show up at the poll and denounce the whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, why you ain't turn down like, boy, we don't want to be Stonecrest. We don't want to be Stonecrest. You had the opportunity. You had the opportunity to stop it. You know what I'm saying? To say, you know what, we don't want to be Stonecrest. But since you didn't, you still calling this L-Town, and this ain't no L-Town. This is Stonecrest. So yeah, man, I'm in here finding, not finding, but I always support the businesses, man. And like I say, let me order my meal real quick, and I get back with y'all. Nice. Nice. It's beautiful art, y'all. Oh, this beautiful art. Oh, that's an expensive piece right there. Whew. Yeah, so like I was saying, man, to everybody, man, who still want to call my city, man, I done been in places, man, with other business owners, and they, you know what, man, I go to the city hall, I go down there to get my permits from the city of Stonecrest. This is not Lithonia. This is Lithonia. And I just want to say to these young brothers, this ain't no diss. But again, it just remind you, man, that you have to step your game up and you know, and not be ignorant. All right, because it sounds ignorant when you call in. That's just like me going to Atlanta saying this is Chicago. Atlanta is not Chicago. Atlanta is Atlanta. Stonecrest is Stonecrest. Lithonia is Lithonia. But again, I just say to many of you, if you feel so strongly, you know, about us not becoming the city of Stonecrest, you were supposed to show up at the ballots and say, you know what, we don't want this to become, we don't want our unincorporated part of Lithonia becoming city of Stonecrest. We don't want that. All right, but guess what? Many of you, I mean, like, what's your alibi? Well, we didn't know. Nobody told it because you wasn't involved. You didn't care enough to know. You probably doing God knows what. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, this is Stonecrest, buddy.